right, back to the normal Friday night taping. No parades this weekend. Oh, well rested. Just cracked open a bottle of wine. It's going to be a great night, and we're glad you're here with us. We're almost agreement at gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. YouTube. We're on their favorite podcast provider. And while you're there, like, friend, follow, share, text us your friends, 5-star review, whatever you can do to support the show. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks for everybody who did come out to the parade last weekend. We had a great time. The Compass guys, I did all the content we created there, went on the Compass podcast. We talked to Becky Massey and Betsy Henderson. I kept my distance, especially from Becky Henderson. So anyway, exciting news-ish this week. We got stuff going on. I don't remember, not a lot. But we do have some fun stuff to talk about. I've gotten my first Facebook fight in about 2 years. So I'm going to have to talk about that. So anyway, we're almost here, everybody. We're going to do a show. Here we go. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
What's new with you?
Not much.
Okay. Did you like that fantastic letter I got in the mail? That you were
I just skimmed through it. Is it two separate letters, or they come together?
It was in one envelope, but it's two. Like, it's one from Larson and then one from the campaign.
Oh.
And so one's more like a third person. Here's all the great stuff about Larson J. And then there's another one where it's Larson's like, I'm really excited about doing these things, and I'm really excited about what I've done and how I can help the county grow. And
seems odd to have two separate letters come in a flyer, but hey, it's their campaign.
Yeah, well, he got a little bit of heat for it because of the letterhead that he is using, and in fairness, it's a little bit misleading.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's like Knox County mayor.
And so if you remember, we had that potluck or whatever up in Carnes a couple weeks ago that Betsy got in trouble for.
Right.
Because she was using real campaign thing. And so what it is, and for all you fiscal conservatives out there, you should appreciate what Larson's doing. He has paid some graphic artist or designer of some sort to create his letterhead and create his, graphic font image and stuff that he's working with. And so he's going ahead and presenting it in his mayor version of it, so that when he is mayor and he is going using things, he can use them again. It's a recycling thing. So all you either fiscal conservatives or all you Green Planet people should be excited about Larson being a little bit deceiving. Because, I don't know. It really is. I mean, the complaint that I saw on it was like, literally, it's like, we talk all the time about how the incumbent advantage in political races.
Right.
And how much easier it is if you currently hold the seat to run and win to continue to hold the seat. And so he's, and he could technically put the phrase elect on all his stuff too, or re-elect, or he could put re-elect on because it's true, but you're not re-electing him for mayor, you're re-electing him for an office in Knox County.
Right.
And so I'll just, a minor tisk on you there, Larson. You probably should have not done that. I mean, just go get a little stamp from the Staples or whatever with the letters FOR on it, and just put a little quick stamp in. So right now it's Larson J 4.
Little sticker.
Yeah. And then just stick them on all of them, and so that you could still use your, you could still recycle and reuse all your graphics and not have to create a second set of graphics, but also be a little bit more honest with what you're putting on. So
show some confidence. Be like future. Man.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Eventual. One of these days. And so, the big news of the week is nothing. There was really nothing except Scrimeti here in the state. Did you see that story? Michelle Carringer from Tennessee
State
House.
AG, right?
Huh?
State AG?
Yeah.
Scrimeti.
I was like, Michelle Carringer from State House 19, I think. It's up in the Powell Halls neighborhood. Had requested his opinion on this the lawsuit that the whatever academy is suing Knox County Schools we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Which, want to guess what Scrimeti said about it? I don't know. I don't know how to approach this story other than it's the same old ridiculousness that we've been accustomed to as of late.
that's a... That's the Board of Education? Or no, is it a state?
Right, this is the charter school that is suing Knox County schools for not...
Right, but is that the purview of the Board
charter,
of Education, or is that purview of state legislature?
What do you mean?
The actual
The charter goes through Knox County schools.
Okay.
But it's a state law. That's the interesting... Yeah, it's a state law that
Right.
says that... well, it's a state law... Or it was a Supreme Court opinion on U.S. federal law that the state of Tennessee... I think there is verbiage in the Tennessee Code Annotated that basically agrees with what the federal, what the decision, and maybe not. This might be one that's just hanging on a Supreme Court decision. Now that we think about it, I mean, it's the entitlement clause of the Constitution, which basically says there can be no state religion.
Yeah.
And so the interpretation of that, generally speaking, historically, is that the state cannot promote a religion, and promotion of a religion would include using tax funding for a religious thing, which is the argument for why. And Schermetti's take on it is the upside down, if you will, for you Stranger Things watchers out there. This is truly the upside down. His argument is by discriminating against a Christian, discriminating against any religious body wanting to do a thing, or by denying it, we are discriminating against a religion, which therefore means that the state is picking and choosing which religions. It's basically his argument, is that, by...
Make that argument if it was allowed in some other case, but...
Well,
I think the intention of it
the argument is well, yes, it is allowed in some other case. Is an atheist school, for lack of a better word, or a non-faith-based school is allowed to get a charter. So you're discriminating against a faith-based school.
But that's not a faith.
I mean, that's the argument. I'm not saying I agree with it. Okay. You're not arguing with me about this. But that's the upside down that we're playing here. Huh. That's literally what's happening. And so, which puts Knox County Schools in the weirdest spot of all, because Knox County Schools, who is operating on a policy that's designed to uphold a state law, now has the state's attorney general telling them that the policy that they're doing is not defendable.
I was about to say, wouldn't the lawsuit, I guess it would eventually go up to him to defend the state, per se?
No.
Or they're suing the county.
Right, they're suing the county, and then it's going to go. I mean, if it plays its game correctly, it'll go immediately from local. Well, see, that's the other thing too that I learned this week is that the state board of education can approve a charter overruling a local board of education. So Knox County Schools could refuse it, and the school that is applying can then reapply with the state. Basically, apply an appeal through the state, and the state would approve the charter. They don't go back and force the local to approve the charter. Does that make sense?
So the state would approve it, but then they can't override the county's decision, per se. Right.
It doesn't. They don't have to. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so if the state's approving the charter, the state's not saying, well, if an entity goes and does applies for a charter school, and the local denies it. They turn around to the state and say, no, we think we should get this. The state says, yeah, here's your charter. The local is not involved. It's not like the state's telling the local, you have to approve it. It's approved moving forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess I was thinking that would mean that they could have a charter anywhere outside of Knox County. It's like, well, Knox County is still saying no, but you have a charter with the state, so you can go somewhere else.
Right. You could have the charter. No, but it's wherever you want. You can be in Knox County or not.
Okay.
I would assume that the state wouldn't look at it if you applied for a Knox County charter and you're in Anderson County and your intent is to build your school in Anderson County. Like, I assume the state wouldn't take it up if you didn't go to the correct local first.
Right.
Like, hey, I want to start a charter school in Knoxville. Memphis County Schools, will you, or Shelby County Schools, will you approve our charter? And they say, no, you're not here. And then I go to the state. They're like, well, no, we're not going to override Shelby County's decision because you're not trying to do anything in Shelby County that makes no sense. I don't know. It's state government. They might do it. They might think it makes sense. I mean, at this point, I have zero faith in what I have zero understanding of what makes sense to these people anymore, I guess is. Or the less it makes sense, maybe the more logical it is to these people. So I don't know. We'll see how this kind of pans out. It's an interesting, I don't know. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't understand, like, from the, like, the part that I don't understand it from the grander, because it's a bigger project. This isn't just some little one-off that's pitching a fit. This is a part of a bigger project. The Hillsdale College thing, all these different things we've done with the vouchers and stuff over the last couple of years. This is a bigger project by a large contingent of the conservative right, or whatever we want to call them, the evangelical right, I guess, is to be more accurate, who is actively trying to get all of these different things going all over the country. And what they really, really want is they want to create the model on how to get to X. So my understanding of it is this thing locally that's happening here is they want this to get in front of the Supreme Court, and they want this to get a decision on it. So then the Tennessee legislature will change some laws and stuff like that, and then Tennessee will become the model for other places to get their charter schools in, or for local charter schools in Tennessee to export them to Kentucky and Ohio and so on. Like, they're trying, like, it's a large thing, and that's what, like, I don't understand how it's not covered as such. Like, it doesn't feel like that's the conversation. Like, it feels like the conversation is like, oh, it's this one little group here that's trying to do this thing. It's really not. It's an intentional. They're doing, like, this is one of those that
they're being the test case.
Well, like, but this is one of those that, like, lobbyists are part of it and stuff like that, and they're like, we are going to, like I mean the inverse of it, and this is how fucked up our system is, I guess. The inverse of it was the cake, the Oregon or Washington baker, and the gay cake story from a couple decades ago. Everybody talks about that like it's such a stupid. Like, when I look back on it, at least I feel so stupid for arguing about it. Because had I known the broader story at the time, which should have been part of the story from the beginning, is that this couple was intentionally trying to find a bakery to tell them no, to challenge the law of the land. Like, it was intentional. It wasn't that this was the first bakery they walked into, or the 15th, and they all told them no. It was they went into a bunch of them, got yeses from most of them, found one that said no, so that they could get the lawsuit, so that they could get this in front of the state Supreme Court, so it could get kicked up to the Supreme Court, blah, 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 blah. It was this intentional, large-scale, well-organized action to get to change national, like to change the national legals on this particular topic.
Did it go up to the Supreme Court? I thought it stayed at the state. Maybe
was it Colorado? I don't remember where it was.
I think it was Colorado.
But I'm just saying, like that. But
right.
That was the point. The point of it was not that these people were actually being discriminated against. The point of it was they wanted to get this example to force the issue to change the law and blah 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 blah. It's right. Like, okay. I don't like that, like, I'm like, I don't know. I was like the specifics of the small view of that case as its own thing, but the large view of it is like, I don't know if I like that. Like, we write laws to write laws, and we challenge laws that are challengeable because there's problems with them. But if it's not an innate, like, short-term thing, why aren't we getting laws changed and written differently, or amendments to said things, instead of going through the court process to force change?
Well, even trying to do legislation, I mean, a lot of times you've got to say, like, hey, I've got, this number of constituents that are affected by this thing. So we would like legislation that either helps them do this or stops this or that.
Yeah, I don't follow.
So, I mean, it's another example of, a lawmaker has certain legislation they want to get passed, but they need other people that are affected by it to kind of like throw weight behind it.
Right, but that's actually trying to get a law change. You're not, because like the functional difference is, to me, I suppose, is that this legislative body, who is their intended purpose is to write law, is out there doing that job, and it's somewhat through the democratic process if they got elected to be there, and they interact with their constituents, and they do public forums and all the different things that they do, whatever that is, and then they go in and they make their case to the General Assembly, and they get other people in that assembly to agree with them or disagree with them, and they go through subcommittee, and there's all this process to that, where it's okay, this huge process goes through, and we get this law changed, or this law made, and then, 6 weeks later, some advocacy group goes out and finds their case, and takes it to the files the lawsuit, takes it to the Supreme Court, And then all that effort that was making a law gets thrown out. Now, there is the good check part of that where the law was poorly written or maybe the law was unconstitutional in the first place. Like, I think that's a failure in process if the legislature is going to write a law or our president was going to sign an executive order that's not legal constitutionally. Like, that's its own problem, and I agree that that is one of the checks to that.
I've heard there's cases where that happens as well. Like they're waiting for a case that could overturn, precedent of that. Right,
but again, so we had Roe Wade that was side one of the abortion case, and then we had what's the new one?
Dobbs.
Yeah, the Dobbs decision, which took it back. What was Roe Wade? Was the 70s?
I think so, yeah.
And so from the 70s to the early aughts, or maybe late teens, when was that? Was it Trump's first term, or was it during Biden? Anyway.
I think, let's say within the last 5 years.
Was all based out of all this weird stuff going on in the court system instead of, it's like, well, why didn't we just codify Roe Wade in the meantime? Or why didn't the conservative Republican legislators ban abortion outright in the country? Like, why did it have to go to this weird thing, whereas Tennessee and Texas and one other state law that changed the law pending the decision to make the thing, and so you had these local laws and this federal laws kind of incongruently flip over, and so since they were incongruent, which is fine, they shouldn't have to be congruent or whatever, but then it goes up and then now the law of the land changes. It's like, why can't the law of the land change with the law writers instead of the law interpreters? It just seems to be a failure of function. Or yes, it should, because that is one of the checkpoints against it.
I think most of Congress just didn't want to weigh in on it.
Congress doesn't want to do shit. Those guys suck.
No, they're just less apt to kind of weigh in on super controversial issues.
I mean,
they don't want to go on record for or against. They would much rather it play out elsewhere.
So if I understand correctly, it's
my thought.
If I understand it correctly, it is, per the Constitution, it is the role of Congress to declare a war. Or are we currently in any declared wars? I know Korea is still technically alive, I think. I don't think we ever officially, we ever had the surrender of the treaty.
I've heard that. Essentially, there was a ceasefire that's just kind of held.
Forgive my just breaking down and going straight to the point. Are we at war with Venezuela?
Not technically.
Then we are committing war crimes because we are killing people extrajudiciously who we're not at war with.
It's in that weird. I think it's part of that weird gray area of post 9/11 with we had our quote unquote war on terror. Right, it wasn't actually a declared war. I don't think we ever declared war on Iraq or declared war on Afghanistan.
I mean, we seized a foreign asset in international waters.
Yeah,
this week.
There's a certain time period
and we're going to keep it.
That the president's allowed to, I guess, play war games without getting Congress's approval.
Yeah, but we're past
30,
that.
60,
we're
or 90.
past that threshold since we've started actively being in active combat situations with a foreign nation. And Congress has no problem, apparently, just letting it go because they're not going to. Because I mean, again, if I'm Timmy Burchett or any of these guys, I'm okay, if I really hated it, if I'm a Thomas Massey and I'm like, what are we doing? This needs to stop. Yes, I'm like, hey, we didn't declare war. You can't do this.
Well, Rand Paul's pushed back against it. I don't know if there's been that many.
What's in the water? Kentucky's awesome. I need to move to Kentucky.
Thought that bluegrass. Yeah, I haven't heard too many with the handful of normally outspoken ones.
Right, but what they don't want,
back on it.
What they don't want,
is they're at least trying to get
record.
I mean, they've been trying to get congressional kind of meetings because I think they've already had a few where they've talked to people in the War Department. I had to catch myself.
War Cabinet.
Is that the War Cabinet
or Department of War?
Right. They've had some of those in the Joint Chiefs of Staff, etc.
State Department. Yeah, State Department. It used to be the State Department.
No, it used to be the Defense Department.
Right, Department of Defense, Department of War now. Yeah, sorry. Right. That's what I was trying to remember. Department of War.
Well, they've had a couple of meetings of talking to them. So, I mean, there's been some.
Which I like that name change personally because it's accurate.
I don't like it.
I like it. I don't like that it's being used as such, but I I like it that it's accurate. It's the department that goes out and does war stuff.
Well, we should start calling our defense budget our war budget.
Yes, we should. I think that'd be totally agreeable. And I think the however many $1 trillion a year we spend on the war budget might get people a little bit more questioning. Because
I mean, prior to 2000, we hadn't really been in a war in a while. So I mean, I like the idea of the Defense Department.
I mean, if that's what they did, then I would agree with you. But I don't think that's what they do. Like if we had a Defense Department and their job was to, I don't know, keep people from coming over here and killing us, because that's kind of usually the definition of defense. And I guess you get to the whole sports analogy argument: so the best offense is a good defense, or the best defense is a good offense, or whatever. But I mean, right? This gets into this immediately falls into a semantic dive of what is defense, because is the CIA meddling in other nations' elections, or I could see the argument being made that overthrowing a foreign dictator could be for our own defense interest. Like, I could see that argument. It's like, okay, this guy in Mexico doesn't really like us, and he's actively helping some of our adversaries that are further down. Like, he's helping China import things, and then they're sneaking them up through the border, and we'd rather have somebody in there that's more of an enemy to our enemies than a friend to our enemies. I could see that argument being made, and this is a defense move to go in and topple this guy to put one of a guy that does what we want. Because that seems to be the logic of the Department of Defense since post-World War II. It's been out there just like, hey, every head of state is going to be a friend of ours, and if they're not a friend of ours, we're going to make their life difficult and try to put in a friend of ours. Maybe not every head of state. It's a little bit too broad, but many.
Right.
Like, I don't think there's, I don't know. Like, honestly, like at this point, and I don't know that there is a nation on earth that the head of state doesn't have some direct tie or some direct contact and influence by the United States. I would be surprised if there are any, or if so, more than like a handful. From major players like Germany and
I think there's
Japan.
A number of smaller nations that we really don't have much of we're not really for or against them, outside of we tariffed everyone left and right. But
the penguins, penguins got to pay their taxes.
Huh?
Those penguins got to pay their fucking taxes, man.
That's right.
But I mean, I still think that we have involvement, we have contact, and we have influence on even countries that are irrelevant to us, like in complete function, in the completeness of the term irrelevance. There is no resources that we want to steal from them. There is no. They're not doing anything terrible that some humanitarian thing needs to take over.
See, there's a number that don't have U.S. embassies where I don't think they really have much direct ties with us at all.
I'll bet you there is somebody that has the phone, like the. I mean, I guess the long and short of it is, if the White House calls that president or dictator's office, they're answering the fucking phone.
Yeah.
Where that doesn't work the other way for a lot of countries. If 10 Downing Street's calling the White House, I don't know if Trump's answering. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't answer. That's a little bit of a bad. That's the only other like presidential residence that I can think of off the top of my head. That's probably not the best example.
Right.
But I wouldn't think that whatever the title of the leader of Sierra Leone calls the White House, and the White House secretary or whatever stops everything to get him on the phone with Trump.
Right.
Where if Trump's calling Sierra Leone, they're dragging him out of the bathroom or waking him up in the middle of the night. Hey, the president of America's calling you. You need to talk to him. What's he calling about? I don't know. Just answer the fucking phone. So anyway, I don't even know how I got that far down that diatribe, other than I don't understand how our legal system, or how I don't understand how our government works anymore, because it seems like more laws get made through the courts than they do the legislative branches. At least functional laws for most people in their day-to-days. I mean, it's the same thing with my hemp thing right now. Like, my hemp thing is getting dismantled in the court system, mostly because the legislators did a poor job writing. But it's like this, because we don't want this in our state. It should be, if it's passable, and enough of the elected officials in the House and the governor's office can agree on that. We don't want this in our state. It should be pretty simple, as long as it's not a violation of the Constitution of the United States, which I didn't realize until recently. Actually, technically didn't apply until like post-Civil War.
That what didn't? Sorry.
The Constitution of the United States did not apply to the states. It only applied to what the federal government could or couldn't do. It did not apply to what the states could or couldn't do. So theoretically, pre-Civil War, the state of Tennessee could have been Southern Baptist, a Southern Baptist state by law. It's like the endowment clause or something like that, which was a Supreme Court case basically post Civil War, which was an attempt to force the Southern states to abide by the 18th Amendment. 19th Amendment. I'm sorry.
I think the Supremacy Clause is before that.
Maybe it's the Supremacy Clause, whatever it is. But I'm just saying, like, it's.
I would have thought that it would
parts
apply.
and pieces. There was a court decision, like the dude that lived in the house, the neighborhood next to UT that we were talking about, got bought up by UT because UT's buying all the land in Knoxville. He was on the Supreme Court that made part of the decision that pushed in the Supremacy Clause or whatever we're talking about, that started making it so that the federal Constitution Bill of Rights applied to state governments as well. It originally didn't apply to state governments.
Interesting.
So I got a really fun argument. Let me see if I can find the story, the base story of it, because I think it was morally just and correct, and people are dumb, and we need to educate people so that these people could vote with us. Whether they agree with my voting choices or not is irrelevant. But Backroom Knox yesterday, Thursday at 3:43 p.m. posted, Knoxville is dealing with a new controversy involving KPD officer redacted, I don't care, and alleged criminal redacted, I don't care. According to the information provided by multiple sources, potential criminal was listed as having an ICE detainer back in October. Under current KPD policy, if detained individual does not have a violent hold or ICE cannot arrive within 20 minutes, officer is required to release them. And so this pursued into a whole racist bullshit devolution on why can't KPD just keep them forever or take them to the ICE officer, all this kind of stuff. And I was just arguing with people about, as I like to try to do, is I like to argue them on their terms.
Well, they had like 24 or 48 hours. Is it just 20 minutes?
No, it's 20. I mean, it's to me, like you have a due process issue, right? You can't just hold somebody for an indeterminate period of time, because then that becomes an unlawful detention, because you just can't hold them forever without a warrant or
some kind of charge.
Criminal, like some criminal thing. Because one of the things that people need to remember is that entering the United States without proper documentation is not a criminal offense. It is a civil offense, and it's dealt with in a different manner. So most police departments on the surface level have no right. They don't work. They're not ICE agents. That's not their job.
Right. We talked about this. They cannot enforce federal law.
Right. Now, they can be conscripted and through programs and partnerships and doing all this kind of stuff to do that kind of thing. KPD is not one. Like we have the 287G program that Knox County Sheriff's Office participates in. And really all that one is just using the detention center to hold ICE detainees for transfer.
Right.
And so as far as I understand it, Knox County Sheriff's Office isn't out there chasing people down and arresting them for being in the country illegally. But they are, if there is an immigration issue with somebody who is detained otherwise, they will then go and detain them. And if there is, and I would assume it's the same rule, if there is an ICE detention order out for this individual, or there's a criminal offense that you could detain them long-term for, they will go to jail. And they will sit there until either ICE takes them or they go to their court. It seems pretty straightforward to me.
Yeah.
So apparently said officer decided on her own that she was just going to take this guy down to wherever the ICE office is in East Tennessee. Don't know where that is.
I did see this story.
And so she is being investigated for said action because that is a violation of KPD policy. Because at this point, unless she got there within that 20-minute window, which that 20-minute window is a suggestion from lawyers because there is no official how long you can legally detain somebody without a warrant. Like that's not a thing. Like you can't just take somebody off the street without having probable cause and a warrant. Or probable cause can get you to you can get them off the street with probable cause, but you can't just hold them indefinitely.
So it's like I think you can do like a 24-hour hold
if
in certain cases.
Right. And I think that's if there is probable cause to believe that there is a violent or a flee action in play. There's a whole bunch of stipulations on that where you can do that. Like if I arrest you on suspicion of murder, and I don't have I have the suspicion, but I haven't built the full enough case to have the warrant for your arrest yet.
Right.
I think you can have a 24-hour hold on that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And you're still in a murky spot as far as I understand it legally either way. So anyway, everybody's all bent out of shape about it, and I was like, look, guys, there's a couple different ways you can look at this. One, do we want police officers individually making decisions on how to do their job and what to do on the job, or do we want a uniform police department so that we, the citizens, know what to expect when we interact with them? That's my first take. Like, look, the policy is what the policy is. We can argue that the policy is wrong. If you want to argue about that, we can talk about that side of it. But are you comfortable with Officer A deciding on his or her own that this person, without proper legal authority to do so, needs to be detained and taken somewhere? I'm not okay with that. I don't think you should be okay with that either. And then part two is we have KPD, who is chronically understaffed and needs more officers, which at least implies that they may not have as many on at any given time that they would like to have on. And so an officer taking, I don't know where this ICE office is, but taking significant time out of her shift to run this guy to a place that she doesn't have the authority to run him to means that she's not on the street doing the actual job that she's being paid to do.
Right.
And so the fiscal conservative in me says, we don't have, like, this is not the city of Knoxville people. They just voted against the tax increase. So they don't want to be wasting money anywhere. And this is Backroom Knox, who I'm loving right now because he's doing this forensic audit of Knox County budget, which has been really fun to follow. And so it's like, this is like, I follow this, but like part of the reason I follow this guy is for his budget hockey craziness. And he's going down the deep, like he's doing something that I say I want to do all the time, but I do not have the mental capability or patience to deal with. He's going line by line in every department in Knox County, seeing what every dollar they spent this last year was.
Right.
Which is awesome. And it's presumably, I am assuming it is an attempt to show how much waste there is. And so this is why we don't need the property tax increase that is already being discussed before the mayor's races are officially even starting. So if that's your take, that you don't want wasteful spending, why do you want local government spending its tax money on a failure of the federal government's actual agency's job? And I get all sorts of questions like, yes or no, just yes or no. Do you think it's right to release a criminal in 20 minutes if their ride doesn't show up within that 20-minute window? Yes, I do. The state has a high bar to pass to keep somebody and put them in a box. And if they can't do it by the laws set forth, then yeah, that person needs to go free. Not to mention, this person isn't a criminal. They're a civil violator. It's a whole separate subset of things. So, anyway, that was the majority of the argument. I did say, yes, I want criminals running free all over Knoxville.
Okay.
Well, civil criminals at least. Right. I mean, but like to me, what drives me nuts is like, it's just on a logical level. It's like, okay, let's have a priorities conversation here. Would I rather have an officer available to come to an actual emergent situation? An active shooter at one of the schools, a home invasion at my house, and I call the police. Would I rather have that person available to come to an emergent situation or be on a 1-hour joyride with a kid in the back that needs to go somewhere else? Especially when this person in the kid's not a right word, but this person in the back who has no record of violent no violent record that we know of. I would rather that person be available if I need them than them be driving somebody somewhere that doesn't have an immediate risk to the community. That's my take on it. I think that's a fair and logical take. That's a law and order take. That's a fuck me. I'd like our cops to actually do good work take. And you know me, I'm not usually big on the cops. But like if they're gonna be there and they're gonna exist, I'd rather have them around to do what they're supposed to do, not running some dude across town because he didn't have his papers filed right.
I agree.
Now, if there was a program and a policy set up where they detain said individual and the sheriff comes and picks him up and takes him to whatever because that's part of the programming and stuff like that, okay. If it's legally, if it's within the measures of legality, fine. I'm not saying KPD officers should not participate or assist their brothers in law enforcement when possible and when legally agreed upon. But it just seems crazy to me. Because that was one of the examples I kept throwing out there. It's like, for one, they're two totally different entities. ICE is a federal agency. KPD is a city police department. Like, they're completely separate entities. They have nothing to do with each other. Just because they're law enforcement doesn't mean they're on the same team.
They both back to blue.
I mean, yes. But I mean, they're not the same thing. Like, how ignorant is it to assume, oh, well, the Border Patrol agent, the ICE agent, the TBI agent, and the KPD officer are all the same fucking thing. They're not. They have specific roles and specific duties and specific jobs set forth to them by the entities that they actually work for. The City of Knoxville Police Department, they may go, some of those guys may work part-time for ICE or something like that. I don't know, whatever. But, like, they're not ICE agents. That's not their job. They don't have the authority to do that legally. Why are we asking them to? Not to mention, I don't want to pay for that shit. We're already paying for that shit with our income tax that's going to the federal government to fail terribly at the job they say they're trying to do. I don't want to add more cost to my local police department that's going to fail at the job, too. I don't want more taxes. If my taxes aren't enough to pay for it over here, why would you want to add taxes to me over here? Seems dumb to me. On the fiscal conservative part, which is what you guys are supposed to be. And so, anyway, that's my take on that. But apparently I'm pro-criminal, so I'll take that too. I'm pro-civil violator is what I am.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that anymore. Facts. Not if you're stupid. Not if you don't understand how the things actually work.
Have their own opinion, but not their own facts.
Well, they can have those too. What's great, though, and this is why I do like the Backroom Knox guys, he did put a statement out because there was enough chitter-chatter about it, which apparently I was included in, that he got a statement from KPD with a couple of frequently asked questions from KPD and ICE detainees. Question number 1, what is the 20-minute time limit? Answer, it's an administrative hold window, not a free pass. KPD policy allows a short period to confirm identity, notify ICE, and determine whether it is a lawful basis to continue detention. If there is no state charge or judge signs warrant to continue detention, it becomes legally risky. Does the 20-minute limit mean police must release everyone after 20 minutes? No. If it's a Tennessee criminal charge, a valid arrest warrant, or violent offense justifying booking for the person is held and processed as normal, the time limit only applies when ICE interest is the sole reason for detention. Because that's the thing. Like, think about it that way. Like, yeah, it might have a little bit of an accent and your skin's dark. And they pick you up for suspicion of illegal status. But you're an actual U.S. citizen. You're a Tennessee resident. You have all your fucking paperwork. And they hold you for 20, 30, 45 minutes for this ICE agent to come. And the ICE agent comes and is like, no, this isn't the guy. He's actually legally allowed to be here. That is a lawsuit. I would sue the shit out of him.
Even then they wouldn't hold him because I think they only held them because they ran his name and it popped up that there was an ICE hold on this person.
Right.
Meaning, assuming his name or that person was already flagged in the system.
Right. Why can't KPD just hold them longer until ICE arrives? Because ICE detainees are usually requests, not warrants. Holding someone without a charge or a warrant beyond a brief administrative window can violate constitutional limits and expose the city to lawsuits. Traffic delays or convenience do not create legal authority.
Okay, if you see this person, we want to talk to him.
Right. And it's like, okay, well, hurry up and talk to him because I got other stuff to do.
Right.
And you're not going to put us in legal jeopardy by me holding somebody longer than is reasonably allowed because you take forever to come talk to them. So you're 100%. You're 100% right. Why not make it a 40 or a 2-hour or a 24-hour? Changing the number doesn't change the thing. It's still that same legal jeopardy they're putting in. Is being in the U.S. unlawfully a crime? By legal standards, breaking immigration rules is still breaking the law and can carry serious consequences, including deportation, federal charges in certain cases. But many immigration violations are handled through the federal civil system, not an arrestable local offense. That limits what city police could do because in the city of Knoxville, I'm trying to think of some federal, specifically federal law that we don't have a state or local backup of. KPD can't arrest you for breaking a federal law if there's not a local version of it.
Right.
Violence changes everything. If there's violence involved, they can hold you a lot longer, do stuff. Why can KPD hold people wanted by other states but not ICE? Out-of-state holds are based on criminal warrants signed by judges.
Exactly.
Why can't KPD take them to jail and let ICE get them there? Jail booking requires that. It's the same time limit problem. Did this officer break policy by transporting someone to ICE? This is unresolved currently. Possible explanations are being discussed, but yes, it is a violation of specific KPD policy. Does federal law override KPD policy? Federal law controls immigration enforcement, but it also limits local police's authority. Local officers cannot act as ICE agents unless legally authorized. That creates a gap where federal responsibility meets local constraints. Whatever. That's enough. The one sentence takeaway is the 20-minute limit is not about helping anyone evade the law. It exists because ICE detainers are usually requests, not warrants, and without a charge or judicial authority, local police cannot lawfully hold someone for a long period of time.
Just hope those weren't AI answers.
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, he did say he got it from...
KPD AI customer service.
Yeah, well, he got it from KPD, and he did link them in it, so if he's lying about it. But then he's also defending... this is the hard part about following this guy, because his next post is defending Trump for being all over the Epstein stuff. So,
say defending him?
Yeah. This one picture that they pulled out, which is, I guess, out of one of the more recent dumps that we got.
Yeah, it's also mentioned.
Which, to be fair, most of those chicks look of age, but, you know.
Yeah, I thought I saw something about a new picture that dropped.
But it's still kind of like, okay, it's his Justice Department. It's Pam Bondi. He's her boss. If there's all this other stuff that's out there that everybody believes is out there, why on the people that these people hate, why isn't Trump releasing those things? You would think for Trump's sake, he would just release everything that made everybody else look bad and scrub his own self from it, or people that he likes from it. You would think.
I did see a judge say they were going to unseal the grand jury deposition or whatever of Ghislaine. I guess her original Florida case, I believe. Either that or maybe it was her most recent one.
I think that's one of the more recent ones. But this is a fascinating one, too. So while I'm doing a whole segment on Backroom Knox, apparently. In Knox County at large, through all of their different, all the different offices and their different, they call them P cards, their payment cards. Basically, it's credit cards that Knox County pays off. That different departments have for their general expenses and stuff like that. There are 4,253 different vendor name variations for Amazon.
Hey.
And this is, I know this for a fact. I'll go, so we end up buying lots of bits and bobs and, you know, like.
Oh, because you have the third-party sellers on Amazon?
I guess. I don't know what Amazon's part of it, but yeah, we'll go and buy like a toilet paper dispenser off of Amazon, and then we'll go buy some cleaner or something else. We buy all sorts of random little, like some lights or whatever.
Right.
And then you go look at the credit card statement, and there are almost every single purchase is a different variation. It says Amazon or AMZ or something like that, but then there's all this other information on it that's of the specific of that seller or of that transaction or something like that. And so, like on paper, it looks like a different vendor. And so basically, what he's trying to do, like what it seems like he's trying to do, he's trying to figure out what individual entity got the most money out of Knox County last year. And it may be Amazon, but it's probably not. But what he wants to make sure is, so like he broke it down really well. Like he goes down in it, and so like, you know, before it read out like AMZN MKTP, Amazon.com, Amazon Marketplace Payments, Amazon Business, Amazon Marketplace US, Amazon.com, Amazon Prime. That's a question. Who's paying for Prime? But Amazon Marketplace, Amazon US, and now that's just listed as Amazon. So when you aggregate all that data, it's going to say all of those charges are just Amazon. Walmart does something similar. PayPal's real wonky. Blue Cross Blue Shield, like that one I thought was kind of weird. That Blue Cross Blue Shield had a bunch of different versions of them, because you would think that the county employee health system is one unified system, but apparently each of the departments has their own payments and stuff like that as part of it. I've seen it with Home Depot too, when I've done stuff where the Home Depot and the store number, Home Depot online is different. Like, and so basically he's going to condense all these into one, and so it's going to add up to $25,000 in Amazon, and then all these individual ones add up to that. But, you know, KUB has a bunch of different ones for their subset of things, and so it's going to be interesting. as he continues to aggregate this information. Because I really don't think he's going to find what I think he's going to find. What I am assuming, I think he wants to think he's going to find. Like, he's going to say, like, we spent 10, 15 grand with Amazon. It's like, that's not that big a deal, buddy. When you get down to the brass tacks of it, with all these different departments buying erasers and pencils and staplers, I don't know where they buy all those things. I'm sure
that or Amazon. Taxpayers are paying the card they use to go buy gas to go drive somewhere and go buy it.
Right. Right, but it's going to be the same thing, right? You know, like how much is on the gas cards is going to be interesting. How many miles are driven in company vehicles, and or reimbursed in company pay or in employee pay? I mean, that'll be a lot, you know. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be interesting when he gets it, because what I'm hoping he's going to do is he's going to break it down as a total picture, and he's going to say Knox County spent meh at this company, meh with this company, meh with that company, and then he's going to say of the we'll stick with Amazon for the example. Knox County spent $25,000 with Amazon over the 1 year period. This department spent 15. This department spent 7. This department whatever, right? And add it up and get there. Because I think I think we will find some numbers that are interesting. But I would bet you that when you break down into it, like I would say certain offices with certain priorities have certain different things. I mean, like just stupid stuff like printer paper or ink cartridges for their printers, or toner, I guess, because they're probably using high-volume printers. Printers themselves, extension cords, power strips, office furniture. Like, there's a bunch of stupid stuff that I think it's going to... like I said, I think his goal in this is going to be like, look how much ridiculous money they spent. And then I think when you look at it and actually kind of think about it for a second, it's going to be like, nah, that kind of makes sense. I'm curious.
Yeah, but a lot of people will take that first take.
Yeah, they will.
Hey, he did the research, and he says it's all bullshit.
Right, and so I'm going to do my best to check his checking. Because like I said, it's possible. I mean, we already found one. We already got Biggs out there leasing super nice trucks and driving out of state and out of town in company vehicle or in county vehicles.
Wasn't that our boy, the comptroller, found that though?
That's your boy. Don't ring me up in this.
I thought you were a fan of the comptrollers too.
You have been the number one comptroller advocate from day one. I don't want to take any credit from you on this. It's all you, man.
Well, it was a long time ago I brought up. I think pretty sure there's a department I guess it's a department, sub-department. That basically, I don't know, man. It's like your boy.
Get him on the show. Call him up. Get him in here.
The auditing accountants.
Let's talk to him. Let's chat him up. Let's see what's going on. Because I'm sure they're busy bumblebees.
I'll bet.
I mean, look, man. Like I said, I don't doubt that he's going to break it down, and there's going to be some stuff that's like that's some bullshit. But to me, I just don't think it's going to be it's not going to sum out to enough to matter in the grand scheme of things.
Right?
Should it be cleaned up? Absolutely. Because it's like only 1% of the total budget. Should we just look the other way? No. It should be dealt with, and we should figure out how to do better at it. It seems like if it seems out of line with reality, then it should be dealt with. But when we're looking at a $1.2 billion budget, $1 million, $2 million that's somewhat wasteful, that's not crazy. It's not okay, but it's not crazy. It's not criminal. It's not something... I mean, it's certainly not something that if you did a perfect job and got rid of all of it, and let's round up to $10 million, isn't going to make fuck all difference in the total budgetary problems that we're looking at for Knox County. 1%. If we could weasel out 1% savings across the county, that's not going to offset I think it was like 7.5% estimate of cost of functioning for Knox County that's supposed to go up over the next couple of years.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like yes, it'd be great because then that 7.5% uptick will only be 6.5%.
Right.
And we can set the new tax rate accordingly to make it as minimally impactful as possible. But it's still going to have to happen. I really don't see... I don't understand a way that it couldn't happen. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we'll get in there and he's going to find $30-40 million that's getting just thrown out the window or going into somebody's pocket or whatever. But even that's not quite there. I mean, $30 million is not going to cover the deficit that they're predicting.
No, but that $30 million could have been used
right
very well in other places.
It absolutely could. I mean, the question to be and it's like I go back to the city one all the time. It's like, why does it cost $1 million to do a mile of sidewalk?
That's what I was about to say. I was like, we could have had like half a mile of sidewalk.
You know, if you're talking like if they're talking $30 million, Knox County could have 30 miles of sidewalk with that shit. I would think it should be 100 miles of sidewalk for $30 million. But I really need to know. Like I failed at my mission of getting that quoted from a concrete guy that I was talking to on how much it would cost me to put a mile of sidewalk on private land. Like my theoretical, I was going to pitch to this guy.
Yeah,
I need to go up to Anthony's house because he might have enough that I could draw a mile around his property. I don't think so. I could do it a different way because we're like, I could do it down in the holler and be like, hey, we're talking about trying to get this landowner to donate this empty field to do a dog park, and we'd like to pave part of it. How much would it cost us to pave? I'll do a quarter mile.
Walking path or something.
For a walking path, yeah. See what that is, and maybe it's an engineering issue. Maybe the city require and then that's something to talk about. Maybe the city requirement, the city engineering specs for a sidewalk are different than.
Yeah, I'd say if it's gonna be right next to a road, they want to make sure it's stable ground, etc.
I still don't think
or that subsiding doesn't affect the road.
That much sense. It's expensive. I mean, I get parts and pieces of it. I can understand why it costs a little bit more. And that, if you have utilities that you have to deal with and move or adjust, and you have telephone poles to go around, or if there's buried lines under there, you have to put access so that the utilities can get down to their lines.
You have to have some traffic enforcement officers out there if you're
working right next to the road. They do that all the time. That's not that expensive.
No, but it's an added cost.
It is, but not $1 million. I can buy 7 officers for an entire day, personally, for an event, and it is expensive, but it does not break the bank.
Maybe the concrete company sucker them into like the best quality concrete that they got.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure.
I know there's like different levels of it. Basically,
I'm 1,000% sure that that's part of the game. Is that there is an amount of them trying to it's like this dynamic pricing thing that apparently like Uber Eats has started doing it, and Instacart. I think Instacart was the one they were talking about. Instacart, have you used any of these things?
No.
I go to the grocery store too. I like to do my own shopping. But Instacart has started rolling in with dynamic pricing. It's been a thing that's happened. Wendy's was talking about it a couple of years ago. Remember that conversation?
Right.
That the bacon double at from 12 to 1 would be more expensive than the bacon double from 1 to 2.
Yeah.
Because the economic rule is this thing is not a multiple of how much it costs me to make it. This thing's price is whatever you're willing to pay me for it. And so Instacart started doing this dynamic pricing thing where they do, depending on what time of day, or I mean, not even what time of day, functionally, just what's happening, like how many Instacart shoppers are currently busy. So if there's like 15 people that are Instacart shopping and they're on the clock for Instacart, if you will, and they're all busy with orders, the next order that comes in gets more expensive to encourage either a different Instacart buyer to come out and shop for it, or these other people to get finished up sooner so they have it. It's like Uber does the same thing. You go to on a Tuesday night, you get an Uber from, Market Square to North Knoxville. It costs X. On Friday night, it costs 3 or 4 times that much.
Right.
Especially, or even better, on a Saturday night right after the game lets out, it costs 6, 8, 10 times that much. Which that one makes sense because it's trying to get more drivers on the road too. It's a way to increase the service as well, because I'm going to drive, if I'm driving for Uber and my normal is like, a couple bucks a mile, and all of a sudden I've got $5-10 a mile. I'm going to try to get out there and get a couple fares in.
You think the drivers are actually getting paid that more?
A little bit, not a ton of it. I mean, a percentage of it. Anyway, and so I think absolutely, if you're bidding a contract for Knox County or the city of Knoxville, you're trying to get at that. You're trying to find the right sweet spot, which is as high as you think you can get away with, and not either not get outbid or not get laughed out of the room. That's why the argument of like the no bid contracts is a problem, because if there's some level of keeping your pricing in check. If you know that you're Bob's electrician and I'm Seth's electrician, and there's an electrical project that the city's asking to get done, and they want bids on it. There's a level of I've got to price it as best I've got to price it pretty well, because if I don't price it pretty well, you're just going to beat it, and then I'm not going to get the job anyway.
Right.
And so there is a level of that competition being out front. Now, I don't know if there's any way the city would know if I went, hey man, I'm going to put this bid in at X, which is a little higher than I think either one of us would do it at, but I'll kick you back $5,000, which will be less than half the difference of what I would make, or how much it would cost us, or whatever. We both make a couple bucks, and then one of us gets the job. We both make a couple bucks, but you go in and put a bid that I'm going to put a bid in for $10,000. You put a bid in for 11, and if I get it, could you do it for 9? Sure, but I'll give you 1,500. You get 1,500 for not working. I get the bid and make more than I would have made if I undercut you at 8. I don't know. I'm not saying that happens, but I don't know if there's any mechanism for them to stop that from happening.
No, it's hard to find and catch.
Yeah. I mean,
somebody would have to self-out them.
Right. I mean, really the only honest maker in it would be, there's some level of, because we have inspectors and stuff with the city who are out there working with a bunch of different electrical companies doing inspections, who probably have some idea of what market rate is for what the job is. And so if 3 people bid and they're all well over market rate, I would think somebody would be like, hey, this is weird. We need to look at this. Yeah. I would hope, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm going to meet some inspectors here pretty soon, and my previous encounters with them. I love bureaucracy. I love the people. I didn't write a sign on my door that says this is ugly because the city sucks. You know that story?
I don't think so.
Our whole front door story at the tavern?
By them having you try to flip it around?
Well, not having us try to, making us turn the door over.
Do it. Yeah.
Right, and so essentially we took this cool old 100-year-old door that's on the front of the building, and we had to take it off and get it to go the other way. Part of that we had to trim off. I think it was a total of 1 inch, but we did a 1/2 inch on each side of the door. We had to make the door skinnier to fit on the other side of the jamb. And so just as kind of we were pissy about it, and so we flipped it. We flipped the hinges over, do the whole thing. And so we have that raw edge where we cut the 1/2 inch off that one side of the door. And instead of painting it black to match the door, we took a Sharpie and said, this is ugly because the city sucks.
You showed them.
I mean, it's one of those things, I've talked about this, Lauren, congratulations, Lauren Ryder, you survived. You are no longer a city councilor. Technically you are. You have 8 more days of officially being on duty, but your last meeting was this week. You will not have to sit through another meeting in the city county building unless you choose to go there, or when you're the mayor, because that's going to happen. But I've talked to her about that. She's she talks all the time about how a lot of candidates, herself included, run on this trying to make it easier to work with the city and get through all the permitting and the inspections and all this stuff in a way that is as minimally impactful, because most people, it's not that people don't want to do the thing correctly or make a safe thing or whatever it is. It's that trying to do it by the rules and through inspections is a long, drawn-out process. That front door literally took us an extra, I think, 6 weeks. Literally, it took us an extra 6 weeks to get our final inspection done so we could open for business. Because of a fucking door. And a fucking door that was legally okay to swing the way it was swinging. It's just the guy who preferred it to swing out. Which I don't disagree with him per se. It's normal. That's normal. All doors swing out in businesses. It's the way it is. Blah, blah, blah. But our back door swung out, and it was big enough, and the capacity was small enough, and the historical overlay gave us the exception that front door could have been the way it was. Not to mention our next door fucking neighbor's door swings in, and they're smaller. They're the same. They're the same footprint as we are as far as capacity and stuff like that.
All right.
And they got past the inspector. That same office passed their inspection to open, but not ours.
You're the new guys,
right? Because her contract, because one of the contractors she was working with has done a bunch of work and been through the city. We were trying to do it on our own.
Yeah,
it's not that we were doing work any differently. It's just that we hadn't done work. The guy that was doing us and the guy that was our laborer, for lack of a better word, hasn't had a lot of face time with these fucks. That was the difference. Well, Johnny's doing it. Johnny does good work, so I'm sure it's right. See you later. I've never seen you before. I'm going through every nail, screw head, getting the level out for every windowsill and going through everything you've got. And it's like, look, man, I'm not opposed to you making sure I did this right. But if you're not going to, did I tell you the plumbing story down there? That's another one of the great ones.
I don't think so.
Another one of the great ones is, this was the landlord hired, one of the things when the guy bought the building, who is our landlord now, one of the things that was out there, he knew it when he bought it, that he was going to have to, before he was allowed to put tenants in there, he was going to have to upgrade essentially the diameter of the water supply coming from KUB. But it's out there under the sidewalk. Had to cut a big hole out of the sidewalk to get to it. So it was a couple of days there. There's a big hole in the sidewalk. They've dug it out. They've run these new lines in. They hook it up all in the building. Everything's cool. Whatever plumbing company's out there doing it. A couple of days later, they've poured the concrete and they've got this caution tape up so people aren't walking in the concrete, putting footprints in it or whatever. And there's this guy out there kind of looking at it. Max walks up to him. He says, "Hey, man, everything cool?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just blah, blah, blah." It's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Yeah, I work with the plumbing guys that did this. I was just making sure that the sidewalk came back in. Everything's good." It's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I don't exactly remember how the topic came up. Or no, I'm sorry. It came up because Max's first question was, "Are you the inspector?" Because we had expected to see an inspector come out and check this plumbing before they poured the concrete over.
Right.
And he's like, "Are you the inspector? I figured you'd have to see it before they put the concrete on." He's like, "No, but I used to be. And so when they call us out for inspection, I'll let them know that we did it right." I mean, what are we talking about here? I don't know how, that shit drives me crazy. And so the point, to my point where I brought Lauren into the mix is Lauren says, it's one of the most common complaints she got from business owners was dealing with the city inspections and permits and all that kind of crap. And everybody runs on, we're going to make it easier. We're going to make it better. We're going to do all this kind of stuff. And they perform they put some task force together and they show all these metrics on how much better it is, but never changes. People that deal with them fucking hate it. And I don't know what the solution is. I mean, consistency would be the start.
Right.
That would be the start. Cool. I mean, if we're just kind of saying, if you say it's good, I say it's good, everybody says it's good. If that's the consistent rule, great. But just because you've seen my work before, shouldn't change the way you look at my work versus his. Makes no sense. Because everybody has bad days. Even the guys
like that weird preferred customer. You don't scrutinize your regular customer basically as much as somebody else that comes in. And
but you're the fucking government. You don't have that excuse. You don't get to play that card.
Right, but these are individuals working in the department as well.
Okay.
They've seen this contractor, so they know that this isn't a contractor that messes around or whatever, so they know they don't need to be as scrutinous. I empathize with you. I agree that it should be more even-handed.
Yeah, well, but it's on all sides. That's what fucking drives me nuts about it. It's all the
times that I went down with you down there to go through the permits. I mean, they were actually actively working with you and trying to help you and figure stuff out. That was the impression I got, at least. They weren't just like, "Hey, you got to fill this out." They're like, "Hey, well, let's look at this and see what you need to do and blah blah blah."
I don't know. I don't know. On the door one, that was a stall as far as I'm concerned. That was hey, let's go. Let's see. I don't know. No, I mean, I don't think any of the individual, but
maybe
that was one of the problems we had. Is that one of the problems was that we'd have a first inspection and then a different guy would come out for second inspection or follow up inspection. And the first guy was like, "Yeah, here's it. We got to change this. You got to fix that or whatever." And we do those things, and we call out the second inspection. And this guy has a whole other different list of shit. And so, they're positive and they're working with us. Yeah, you just need to fix this and that. It's like, well, the other guy didn't fucking tell me that.
I met the people we talked to at the city county building.
Which ones did we talk to at the city county building? Oh, with my house project thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a resident though. I'm different. I feel like they care. I don't know. We'll see because I haven't actually pulled permits on anything. I did get my permit approved for the building today.
Nice.
Sorry, the foundation for the building today. And so we'll see now that things are a little bit more moving how well this goes. Because it's not going to go smoothly. I know it's not.
Well, there was a couple other business people that were down there. Randall
made that whole meeting a great day. I've just Randall made everything okay. Haven't seen Randall in years. That made me happy. But I don't know, like just weird stuff. Like I don't know the annexation rule thing. I thought that was weird. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We will see as this progress. I'll keep you all updated on the outbuilding process. Rhonda Lee did not get her appointment.
I saw that.
They appointed.
I was wondering if that was the same
instead.
position. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we'll have to wait till January for that campaign to start because we'll be electing that judgeship in August. So, but yeah, not a lot. Not a lot.
So she was pretty convinced she was going to get it, though.
I mean,
if I remember correctly,
I mean, like she has stated that she would be on the ballot for her commission seat, and she will not be seeking that commission seat. She will be seeking the judgeship. Now, having not gotten the appointment, the outgoing Andrew Jackson the Sixth. Andrew Jackson the Sixth, outgoing, did endorse this Andrea Klein character, which was the excuse that most of the commission gave. It's like, it's not about you, Rhonda, but the guy that's leaving wants this person to replace him.
Right.
And we did like the guy that was there before, so I'm going to take his word for it.
Right. Well, like I said, it could be for 6 months or however, 9 months maybe.
Yeah. And there's, Rhonda's not been necessarily popular amongst her commissioner friends, so it may be just a little bit of like, you picked enough fights in commission meetings that a couple people just didn't want to help you out. If the public at large wants you there, then you'll win that election and everything will be okay.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a whole nother level of stuff. The West Hills neighborhood group was out there swinging dick again about some weird property that some guy's trying to build townhouses on. Going back, they did deny the split ownership of the duplex thing. Not West Hills, but West Hills was the advocate against it. The city allowing the split ownership of property that's a duplex.
So what's the current law?
It has to be a single owner. So
okay.
If you have a duplex, if you own a duplex, you can own the duplex and then you can rent the other half, or you can let your in-laws live in the other half.
Right,
or
but you can't just
whatever.
own half of it.
Right. You can set up a condo corp. You can set up a business that owns the duplex, and you own 50% of the business, and I own 50% of the business, and that's each of our. Well, rephrase that. You could set up a condo entity, and I own half the condo entity that is my half of the property, and you own the condo entity that is your half of the property, but the condo entity is the actual owner of the property. And you could do that in current duplex format, and I think to me it logically comes down to the city doesn't want to have mini lots, because that's really what this does. Is it says whatever the lot size is can now be split in half.
Yeah. And
so what's going to happen when what is currently a single lot in the city of Knoxville that somehow magically has nothing built on it currently, house burns down, whatever. And some guy goes in there and it's like, well, if I could do a duplex where make this 2 lots, why can't I just make this 2 lots and build 2 small houses?
Exactly.
Or why can't I just make this 2 lots and build 2 duplexes on each lot? And then all of a sudden we have 4 lots on the same single lot that was a subdivision or a division of land in the current city format. Which, I mean, I don't know if I care either way, but that does seem to be the sticking point in that conversation. But yeah, some condo complex. Some guy wants to develop a condo complex. Says Middlebrook and Weisgarber, which I'm trying to picture that in my head. That's over there by that Weigel's, I think, on Middlebrook, behind Sam's Club.
No, Middlebrook and Weisgarber. It's right there where the post office is. The main post office.
I might be mistaken.
That's Middlebrook and Weisgarber.
That is Weisgarber. You're right. What's the one that I'm thinking of?
There's an industrial park right across the
Gallagher.
Okay,
that's what I'm thinking of. That's where I believe it is. Gallagher and Middlebrook, which there's the Weigel's on the one corner. Middlebrook tees off right there, so it's straight. Like, so the other side is a neighborhood, and so it's that other corner opposite the Weigels, I think, because that's West Hills.
Does Gallagher go all the way to Middlebrook?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I haven't gone that way in a while.
Yeah, you go behind the Sam's Club, and like it's Gallagher and whatever the one that goes by Ted Russell that goes over the interstate.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, and then they come together behind the Walmart Sam's Club.
That's right.
And then Gallagher continues on and hits Middlebrook.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, that is Weigels right there.
Right, and so the Weigels is on that one corner. Gallagher tees off into Middlebrook. The other side of Middlebrook's a neighborhood. Like that, the right side of Gallagher is West Hills. Like if you turn right into one of those side streets, that goes into West Hills, and you whizzle through all that craziness. Because West Hills is properly a pain in the butt to drive through. So when you get your Waze app out, it's probably not going to send you through there because it is a different way to get from Middlegrip to Kingston Pike. You can do it through West Hills, but it ain't a straight line and it ain't easy. Anyway, so somebody wants to build like a 50-unit townhouse complex or something like that in there, and West Hills neighborhood doesn't like it.
There's already a bunch of apartments right along that strip anyway.
Yeah. Suck it, West Hills. You're going to get all the traffic anyway. What's it matter? It doesn't make a difference. Like $400,000 townhouses.
Jeez.
Yeah. Which, I mean, whatever. Build more.
How much the ones that are out there in Turkey Creek they built? I haven't seen those.
You just got to keep building more. I mean, that's all that matters. Like, there's like those. So there's the first of two new residential complexes that's going into Happy Holler. I called their phone number and talked to the landlord, apartment manager, whatever you want to call him, that owns that place. Six units, like 900 square feet each, maybe 1,000 square feet each. They're all efficiencies or studios, I guess, if you want to make them sound classy. Like $2,000 a month.
Yep.
And it's like when somebody told me that, I was like, okay. Like, it wasn't shocking to me. I mean, it is. Like, if I, like, now that I think about it for a second, it's like, that is kind of crazy. I had that efficiency in the basement of that apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
I think I paid $350 or $400 a month.
Yeah.
Now that was 2006, 2005, something like that. But still, it was also in a basement of a shitty apartment in South Knoxville. In hindsight, it actually was a little expensive.
Location.
I mean, it was mostly a storage unit for my crap. I was barely ever in there. But, I don't know. Like, it just seems that's just where housing is. I mean, the long and short of it is that's where housing is. I don't know who the fuck thinks they're going to, like, who's going to pay $2,000. Like, maybe the third floor on top might be a kind of cool place. Except you have to climb up 3 flights of stairs with your groceries.
No elevator?
I don't think there's an elevator in this place, but I might ask, like, I call and talk to the guy because I was like, hey, I run the neighborhood business group. You're now a business in the neighborhood. Welcome. We'd love to get you involved in any way you want to get involved in all the stuff we've got going on down here. We'd love to help you get your place full of people. So if there's anything we can do to help you, let me know, and I'll do my best.
And by the way, how much are you guys charging? I may call him back and be like, you want to give me a tour? I want to go check it out. Show me around. Because he's like, we should be open. I talked to him earlier this week, and he said that they should be ready to rent first of the year. And so I think currently, if you're interested, if you want to apply, you could probably stop by and they'd show you one. Yeah, I think they're getting to the point where they have at least one kind of like showroom.
I mean, I drove by the other day. They had their guys were out there hauling all the appliances in. So
yeah,
they've got to be like they probably have paper like the shit on the floor, so all the guys coming in and out don't track up the carpets. But I'm gonna guess the carpets are down, the walls are painted. They're putting light switch covers on, and
I don't think they did hardwood.
I don't know. I'm just saying they're probably putting light switch covers and putting all the light fixtures and like the little bits and bobs, the fucking handles on the cabinetry and shit like that. That's probably what they're working on right now. So anyway, I don't know how we got on that tangent of whatever. There was one other thing I thought. Oh, I did pull up. I do have a segment of Erk's thing if you want to do it, but if you don't want to do it, I can.
We can do it. I just didn't want to make a show of it.
I didn't want to make a whole show of it, but like this. So, Mr. Erk Wiatr did a thing. This is Truth Between the Lines, a YouTube show
How many views are they up to now? I meant to look.
As of when I pulled it up earlier tonight, 383 subscribers. Where's the view count? I don't see where's view count on this thing. 131 views. Was posted 6 days ago. I mean, they're doing better than we are, so I can't talk shit. So
sure.
Anyway, Erk Wiatr, everybody.
I think 2026 is the most important county election we have had in a very long time. Republicans have essentially two choices. We can elect a conservative for mayor and a conservative majority on the county commission, and we can have Knox County be Republican indefinitely, or we can go the way of the city. And if we have a liberal...
I love that. So I got to pause there to interrupt. So Betsy is Eric's candidate. So what Eric just said was you can vote for Betsy Henderson, or you're voting for India Kincannon. Everybody else on the ballot is the way of the city, which he goes like anyway. This is Truth Between the Lines. YouTube search it. Consult Erk Wiatr. This was posted 6 days ago, so it's a fairly fresh interview. If you want to look up and watch, like the whole thing's 45 minutes, 54 minutes long. But what he just said there is, if you don't vote for Betsy Henderson, you are voting for some crazy liberal city mayor like Madeline Ruggiero or.
They had that take a lot. I heard some pretty crazy stuff, and I was like, wait, what the hell is he talking about?
Right. And so, like, I don't know if this is where I think the next part here, let me roll it for a second.
Liberal mayor and a liberal majority on the county commission.
Right. So if you don't vote for Betsy Henderson, not only will we have some weird liberal mayor, but that's also going to bring in liberal county commissioners.
Yeah. And that will set it up where in about 8 years from 2026, we'll have a Democrat running the county who has a serious shot at winning.
So come 2034, is we're going to have two terms or whatever this Larson J. or Kim Frazier liberal Republican mayor, we will then automatically go to an actual Democrat mayor because they're going to open the door for this crazy loony lefty shit. That's what that was my take on that. If you don't vote for Betsy, we're starting down the path to become the city of Knoxville, which everybody in Knox County loves the city of Knoxville, obviously, because half of the residents of Knox County are in the city of Knoxville.
Right.
And so I don't know.
Isn't it a majority?
No. We're right at 500,000 in Knox County total, and it's right under 200, right at 200 in the city.
Yeah, so almost double. Say 500,000 and 200,000?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Right. It's less than half. It's 40% if you want to get super accurate on it.
So I was thinking you were separating the numbers.
I wanted to keep it local in Knox County, but you brought up a good point too, because you said that if the Democrats do win, they'll bring in more Democrat stuff, and I keep thinking about New York City.
This is a good question. I actually like this question. It's interesting.
Kind of the socialists is just one in Seattle, the mayor there, and obviously the one in Central Tennessee we just talked about. She was literally borderline.
He won't say her name.
If not a socialist. How do you argue
as a
Republican? Someone that can just think and run a spreadsheet and knows how to run a company. How do you combat giving out free stuff for everything? I mean,
I want your take on that, Sam. How would you run for office? And if somebody's running for office against you saying free shit, how would you fight them back?
I don't know.
I mean, it is a legitimate, again, if we're going back to 3 minutes ago when I was complaining about all the angry people about brown people in Knoxville and KPD not arresting everybody that looks like a Mexican and getting deported or whatever, and the idiot people that are in that thread that are arguing for things and not bothering understanding the complexity of how laws and shit actually bother working. That's the problem with it to me, because it's a valid question. Because there is somewhere in this, it doesn't work that way. It can't work that way. One of my favorite quotes ever is from my libertarian guru, Dave Smith. This is him requoting somebody else, but it's basically when we were full on in COVID and they were sending out stimulus checks, and it's this is a bad idea. It's going to cause inflation. It's no, it doesn't have to cause inflation. All this kind of stuff, and everybody's whatever, it's fine. It's It's like, well, just take the logical end here. Okay, well, they're sending us $6,000 a household or whatever. I can't remember what they sent out. What we got? 3,000. I think it's 3,000 individual. Something like that. Anyway, whatever. I got a bunch of money from it, and I took it and I spent it on shit, and it was great. Yeah. But it's like, well, if it doesn't matter, if it doesn't have a side effect that's a problem, then why isn't it $10,000? Why aren't we giving out $20,000? Why don't we just all get a universal basic income for no reason? Like, it's a valid question, because at some point it does, like, politically, the argument, it's like, yeah, it's really easy to be like, well, we can get free buses. We're going to do housing assistance program. We're going to do all these kind of things. The Mandani, campaign stuff. And it's like, a lot of that stuff makes sense. And it seems like a good thing. But there is the question of how's it going to get paid for?
See, I thought I heard somebody talking about with the bus thing in New York, that there already is free buses. That's basically, they all have like a bus card or whatever. But I think there are like free bus cards for certain reasons of certain people.
I mean, buses, mass transit systems, as I understand them anywhere, are the majorly funded by tax stuff anyway. Like, fares never pay the bills anyway. Like, here in Knoxville, CAT bus system, like, less than 10% of their operating expense comes from fares.
Right.
And so, like, at some point, at some level, like, a bus thing specifically is a fully taxable thing. And so, anyway, I think it's a valid question, because yes, like, the idea is, it's very easy with a bunch of stupid people to say, I'll give you free lunch,
right,
if you vote for me. Where the old adage, there's no such thing as a free lunch. How do you combat that? Anyway,
I mean, you have pro-business candidates that kind of do the same. If they're going to do tax subsidies on this and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's like giving prisoners, like, hey, I will give you free dinner or free everything. Just take it. Here, live on the government. No problem. Here's all this free money.
Yeah.
And Republicans are supposed to fight that. And that's the hard thing, because people keep flocking to it, because why not?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like literally communism taking over right now?
Yeah. Well, look,
two totally different.
That is a
governmental formats, but whatever.
What you're asking.
What are your thoughts on communism?
Difficult. So here's the thing: voters will always
we don't have
vote in their self-interest, right? Almost all voters will do that. And so, what do we got? What do we got to do? Well, for one, we got to stop taxing American citizens to pay for illegals. This is huge.
This isn't the right clip. I didn't want that one, but anyway, that's. It is an interesting conversation now to pay for illegals, whatever, especially in Tennessee, Eric. We could half the Tennessee population could be illegals. They're all paying fucking taxes, bro.
The taxes to one point where they get into the idea that most people are sending their money back to their home country.
The remittance tax. That's actually interesting to me. Like, that's an interesting thought, because just on a purely economics part of the conversation. Like, again,
but let's say
which one? Go ahead. Sorry,
but he probably doesn't have an issue with offshoring the wealthy doing that.
Right. But you're also a conservative Republican that's like, it's your fucking money. You can do with what you want.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was a Republican value. That's why they're against estate taxes and shit like that. But like, it is an interesting. But on a purely economic, like, if you're on a purely economic conversation level, there is something to that idea. It's like, hey, look. We're giving you this money. We're giving you this money. You earn this money for doing whatever work you do. It's good for us as a community if you spend that money here. If you're going to send that money over there, that's that's a little bit of a downer for us. And to maybe put a tax on that
is
reasonable.
Same thing. People that send money to their family out of state.
Yes, agreed. I mean, it is, but it's an interesting thought process. I don't know if I agree with it or not. I haven't put a ton of thought into it. I haven't seen anybody that's done anything in the past on it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting thought process. It's like, if you're coming to America, on the immigration part of it, it's like, if you're coming to this country for a better life, okay, come on. I don't think it's necessarily unfair to be like, okay, come on. But you getting the better life here needs to benefit us too. And one of the benefits that we get from you coming here to work is you earn that money and then you spend that money in your local community, and that generates economy and it generates taxes and all those things. If you come here for a better life, and
you gotta stop people from buying shit from Amazon,
and you send all your money back to the country you came from, you're pulling resources out of the local economy and taking it out of the country. It's a conversation to be had. I don't know what the right answer is. I'm saying it is an interesting conversation to be had.
I don't know. I think it's a negligible amount that you'd be able to get anybody with. Especially talking about people that are here on like visas and whatnot.
Sure.
With the cost of living,
sure,
they're keeping a good bit of their paycheck.
Right, because they're
probably not being able to afford to send much out.
But again, I think we talked about this last week. I think there's, there are incentives in place that encourage people to move here, and that would be something that would reduce the incentive to get people to move here. If that's the goal of the immigration system, if you want to build an immigration system that is reducing the incentive, not completely cutting off incentive for people wanting to live in this country, but if you want to build a system that is reducing the incentive structures for people to immigrate here, because you want less people to immigrate here, if that's the immigration structure that you want to build, that could theoretically be one that makes logical sense to me. Be like, sure, you can come here, but if you send your money back home, we're going to take 20% back. Which we already took 20% in income tax, but
I'm assuming most of us done through like Western Union, so
but look,
I'm trying to think how they even track it.
On a purely philosophical basis, I'm wholly opposed to this. I'm wholly opposed to it on a base philosophical basis. I earn this fucking money. I will burn it if I want to. You could suck a dick. The fact that I have to pay taxes on it to get it in the first place is bullshit, and the fact that I have to pay taxes on it when I use it locally is bullshit. So, on a fundamental level, I'm generally opposed to it. One of the parts in here that the clip that I thought was coming up that I missed here was what I find one of the things I find most fascinating, and we've talked about it a couple times on here. I truly believe that people like Erk Wiatr and MAGA Republicans and stuff, and just strategists, political strategists in general, both on left and right, completely missed the lesson of 2016 and why Trump won the election. I think they're completely missing the lesson of why Mondani won this election and why Afton Bain did so well in that race, even though she ended up losing. Why this whatever character from Washington that he referenced, that's the socialist mayor.
Well, I think they talked about it. It seemed like the only big thing was schools are indoctrinating everybody, and that's why.
Right. I think that right, and I think that's my point. Is I think they're completely missing the point. I think the reason that Trump is the president of the United States right now is because everybody is fucking sick of the whole thing. And I've been sick of the whole thing for most of their adult lives. And Trump was a fuck you. And Trump did a good job explaining away why his first attempt at the fuck you failed. And that's why he won again. And now he's proving that, no, he's just a piece of shit like every other one we've ever had. I think that's why the Mondani wins. I think that's why Afton Bain's got up. I think because you're getting more extreme versions of candidates as of late, especially from the left, because they're not out there trying to sell the same bag of shit that we've been sold for the last 20 years.
Oh, he kind of downplayed the Van, whatever, the Middle Tennessee special election.
The Van Epps thing?
Van Epps.
So
somebody put up that it was the same turnout as the 2022 midterms.
It was a massive, massive turnout for a special election.
Yeah.
And that's just it. Because
I think he said a lot of Republicans were disenchanted or whatever. That's why they... No, they just didn't show up.
Well, right, because I mean but that's normal. That's standard. Like if you're kind of okay with what's going on, I got stuff to do today.
Or if you think it's going to be an easy win, could have been some of that too.
But I mean, it's just it's easier. Well, there's two parts of it. One, Van Epps ran an entire campaign on she's bad instead of anything I'm going to do positive or
I think they did mention that.
Whatever for you. I think that's number one. Is that his entire identity was not her. Which the Democrats have been doing a ton of too. It's like their entire identity is I'm not Trump, or I hate Trump, or Trump hates me. Like it's a super win when Trump, like if you're in a competitive district and you're the Democrat and Trump comes around and says you suck, I hate you. That's like plus 2 or 3 points immediately. Because anybody that was on the fence about you that hates Trump is on your team now.
You think it's swaying that many people?
I think it sways a ton of people. Oh. And maybe not sways a ton of people, but it activates people. People that are kind of like meh on it, but oh shit, this person is poking Trump. I love that. Enough that Trump actually pays attention?
Possibly.
But I think what is happening right now, that again, I think the Afton Bain ones, but I think the Mondani is the more clear example of it. I think Trump was the original example of it. I think Obama at some level was the start of this, is that we as a society are so frustrated with this whole thing. And anytime somebody that is well spoken and presentable comes in, this is my Obama reference, comes in and talking about hope and change, hope and change, hope and change, hope and change, and we believe them. And we get through those 8 years and like, that wasn't the hope and change. That was not the change that we were hoping for.
Is it McCain that ran against him in 2008?
Probably. I think so, yeah. Okay. You know, and then I think you get Trump, who's ugly and rude and gross, because the last time we fell down the rabbit hole of hope and change, we got another one of the same olds, because they were a well-spoken version of the same olds that sold us on this idea. Let's try this ugly, gross, nasty version of it, and that's failed too. And so now the chaos swing is like, I don't care, just tell me anything. And like what I want to see, and I think this is true for a lot of people, what I want to see is a politician that doesn't feel like they're just lying to me. You know, like I remember having this argument with AC back when we first started doing this. When we were talking about that was when Bernie was still in the run against Hillary before the DNC cheated Bernie out of his nomination.
Right.
You know, and so when it was when like it was after Hillary had the nomination officially, but we were discussing the hypothetical of what if it was Bernie versus Trump. And I remember being like, man, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't even Bernie versus Trump. I don't know, whatever it is. Something about Bernie. And it's like, man, I hate so much stuff about Bernie. Like I hate so many of his ideals and his philosophy. But in hindsight, I don't know. I don't know. Like in hindsight, at least I trust him to be honest at some level. Although he's been kind of a shitbag, but he still bends when he needs to bend, or when he bends when certain pressures get put on, which is disappointing. But for the most part, it's like, you know, that's why I'm not a big AOC fan. Like I wasn't an AOC fan on philosophy, and then over time, it's just like, you know, when it comes down to it, it's like she'll get up there and she'll give an impassioned speech about how bad this is, and then vote for it. It's like, what are you doing? Like, give me something. I just want somebody that doesn't care. That's why Thomas Massey's so exciting to me. Rand Paul's okay sometimes, but Massey, the fucking what's her face from Georgia who quit.
Oh,
Marjorie. Like Marjorie, like I'm in love with Marjorie right now, just because I mean, like, you know, like at least she's consistent. Like if you could just be consistently evil, I'll take consistently evil over like sneaky and changing sides and have no real expectation for what you're going to do today or tomorrow or whatever. Like philosophically,
she's changed somewhat, I would say, for the better. Right? She dropped some of the QAnon shit, and
right. But yeah, but
some of the rhetoric.
But still, she's angry because what she believed in, because she was sold the same thing we were sold, and then she was sailed down the river for it, and she's angry about it, and I love that.
Thought we were going to drain the swamp. What happened?
I know. Like, I mean, the drain the swamp thing. I'm still in love with that phrase. I just he didn't. Trump has gone in a weird, in an illogical, unexcusable, unexplainable backwards slide on the thing, and it's gotten worse about it. Like, it's worse than, I mean, Kash Patel not getting off his fucking airplane until he gets the right size fucking windbreaker.
I didn't hear about that one.
Like, what? You didn't hear about that? That was the Charlie Kirk thing? He would not, like, he delayed the press conference until they found the right size windbreaker with the right patches on the sleeves, so that he could go out and be a part of that thing and looking good.
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah.
I heard about him, like, flying to Vegas for, like, a UFC event.
No, that was for his girlfriend, and it was like a not UFC. It was not UFC level. It was like some lower level thing.
Backyard wrestling.
His girlfriend was singing the national anthem for this event.
Ah. I can't fly private.
Right, but the same people from the right are going to excuse that use of tax dollars while they're pitching a fit about anything else that all this illegals, all this tax dollars you spend on illegals. Yet that guy, it's okay for him to use the
tax dollars get spent on illegals.
I mean, I'm sure they do. I mean, at some level, like that's the school fight. That's one of the school fights we have right now. Like there are absolutely 100% a not insignificant number of students in Knox County schools that are not legal residents of the United States. And that's tax dollars getting spent on non-legal residents. However,
I don't think at least at the elementary level that many of them were born here. Maybe some of them are that recently arrived.
It doesn't matter because their family's paying the same taxes I'm paying.
Right.
Now, should they be here or should they not be here? We can have that argument, but that's not that is a straw man at best. Part of the argument. It's like
the process isn't quick. I've heard some people say 20 years, which I think is maybe kind of on the upper limit.
Yeah.
I'd say at least like 10 years to go through like citizenship process.
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's not simple. It's not easy, and that's fine. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't be. That's not the point. But I'm just saying, like,
I'm saying a lot of it's just backlog.
If you're going to make an argument that the reason, we can't, the way to argue against the socialists telling you they're going to give you free shit is, well, we're going to stop spending money on people that don't deserve it, and they don't deserve it because they're not paying taxes. Like, well, they are paying taxes, though, buddy. They live in Tennessee,
right?
Unless they are somehow magically, just eating air and
living on the black market
and living in. I mean, unless
get all their food from the flea market,
right, unless they're homeless or whatever. Unless they're homeless and not eating and not buying clothes and books and. I mean, I guess if you're really, 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 really good at it, if you're a super strategic homeless person with kids, you might be able to, I don't know where you get your money from in the first place, but you might be able to get away with buying what you need to survive without paying taxes. Groceries are tax exempt. Some groceries, I don't know, that's weird. You got to be really specific about what you buy.
What groceries are tax exempt?
I mean,
the state was trying to fight for that.
And there's an argument about that. Yeah. Maybe, okay, so if you're buying groceries, you're paying some taxes. If you're getting clothes, you're paying taxes on those clothes. If you time out right when you're getting your clothes and your school supplies, you can do that on that tax-free weekend.
Right.
So if you hit it just right, you could get away with not paying taxes for that.
The state kept floating the idea of doing like a grocery tax-free, like a month or a couple of weeks, I think, right around school or at some point.
We did like half a year a couple of years ago.
Did we?
It was from August till the end of the year one year.
Okay.
Because we had so much extra money. So I don't know, whatever. I don't know. It's interesting, I guess.
Been filling up the rainy day fund.
I mean, I don't know. I'm curious. Erk's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He has been successful in the efforts he has done. He's been successful in efforts. He's failed in some efforts, but he is definitely not smart about what he's doing. And so, to me, the question is how much of this is performative for him versus what he actually believes it is. Because I really don't I have a hard
I hope he's not putting on that much. That most of it is what he.
I would think so too. But I really don't. I can't imagine that logic makes sense. Spending tax dollars on illegals in Tennessee. You're in Tennessee. We're in Tennessee. If we're spending tax dollars on illegals, that means they're residents of some level, which means they're to make them eligible for any of these tax programs. Or if they have kids in the school system, they have to be residents on some level to get into the school system. You can't just show up and drop your kid off. You have to give them an address that you live at and that kind of stuff. And so if that's happening, you're paying the taxes that go into that system. What taxes are you not paying? What taxes are they not paying that I'm paying?
Right.
Well, they may or may not be paying employment taxes because I'm a business owner, but for the most part, a one-to-one comparison, what taxes are they not paying that somebody else is paying that's in a similar line of work and whatever that they are? They might not be paying income tax, but that has nothing to do with Tennessee politics. But again, it goes back to my point. If you don't understand the actual breakdown of how government works, shut the fuck up. I don't know what else to do. I don't know. I don't want to be that guy, but I can't help it. It's so frustrating at this point. It's so going back to my stupid argument on this KPD officer thing. It's KPD is not ICE. They don't have the same job. They don't have the same budgets. They don't have the same priorities. Why would we expect them to? Why would we want them to? And if you don't understand the functional difference in those two, educate yourself before you want to talk about it. Because it's like, oh, well, they're criminals. They need to get out of here. Well, A, they're not criminals by law. They're breaking a civil law. So there's a difference in breaking civil law and criminal law. They didn't kill anybody. That's when you get in the criminal side of the system. The civil system's a little bit different. So technically speaking, they're not actually criminals, although they have violated civil statute. It's not the same thing. So we could start there, and then we can just dismantle your argument right there. It's not even a criminal in the first place. And the agency that's in charge of that is a federal agency, and they have a job to do, and that's fine if they're elected officials built this agency to do this job, and they need to do the job. And if they are incapable of doing their job, they need to get more funding to do their job, or they need to work out systems where they partner with local agencies and do things, and that's not where they're at. If that's where they're at, then we can have the discussion about that. But that's not where we're at. That's not the way it works. And for fuck's sake, people, we do not want to live, nobody wants to live in a country where you're just allowed to get picked up by a person with a badge and they get to keep you until they fucking feel like letting you go. Nobody wants that. You don't actually want that. And if you do want that, then you're fucking nuts. And I don't want to live next to you, but I have to. Because I understand the way the compromise of society works. You don't. You don't get to think that way. You need to educate yourself just a little bit. And then you need to practice a little bit of like the shoe on the other foot game. No, what happens? Okay, so I
think some are more okay with it because it's been labeled that any illegal, most likely commits crimes or they're criminals anyway.
Again, educate yourself because then if you're believing that label, then you're wrong, and you need to educate yourself. Okay, let's say the replacement theory is real, just for a second. Let's go down the rabbit hole. Do you want to continue to live in the United States? Yes. Well, when all the Mexicans take over and they change the laws in the way that they want it and act like you're acting against them, are you okay with that?
That's not going to happen because
I'm just saying, realistically, just for half a second, just go okay, what happens? If we empower the government to do action X, if we empower the government to pick up people of color and kick them out, and not even bother checking to see if they're supposed to be here or not. Or not even kick them out yet. Just pick them up and put them in. If we're going to be okay with the premise of anybody that has colored skin, we're going to pick them up and we're going to throw them in a box, and we're going to spend 1 day to 6 months trying to figure out if they're allowed to be in the neighborhood that we picked them up in or not. Okay, if you're okay with that, then be okay with the idea of it going the other way. Anybody who looks white is going to get picked up, put in a box. And you get you'll be in there from 1 day to 6 months while they figure out if you're allowed to be around or not. What do you nobody wants that. You don't want that. I promise. And if you do want that, you're actually fucking racist. I try to defend people all this racism shit is overblown and it's a media hype thing. And I mean, absolutely there are real racist people out there, but in volume, most people aren't actually racist. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe even these idiots that I've been arguing with this week are actually racist. They just don't understand how racist they're acting. That's the only that's my silver lining explanation. That's got to be for the love of God. I hope that's the truth.
Yeah, they're not as bad as the way they sound.
They sound like they just don't understand how racist what they're doing is. And it's listen, I agree. We need to do better about our immigration policy. We need to have a better policy in the first place. That is understandable, and we're allowed to. This is our country. We're allowed to say no more. We're full. We can't handle any more people. It's too much. It's too much cost to the system. We can work out a system and set that up. Right. And we can set up. Go ahead.
Another side of it is we're among other countries that we have a declining birth rate.
Right.
So on one hand, we kind of do need an influx of population.
Which just references me to my favorite, God, what's his name? I don't know, the fat guy, he's dead. Politician. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. That's not my favorite thing. It's just we got to figure out, but I mean, that's its own economic issue, and that's something that's
a decades-old thing. Is we're basically paying for baby boomers that are now retiring.
Everybody's parents need to hurry up and die. It's an economic
sucking off the teat.
It's an economic issue. It is, but and yes, absolutely sucking.
Living
off the
so
teat.
long.
I mean, you want to talk about taking tax dollars and pulling them out of the functional parts of the system. It's Eric. It's mainly your parents, Eric. I promise you. my dad and Eric's dad, wherever he lives, if he's still alive, it's cost the taxpayer more dollars than Mr. Garcia or Fernando or whatever the Hispanic name you can pick up off the top of your head is costing it, whether they're here legally, if they're here illegally. I guarantee it. Now, where that lies in state and federal dollars is a different conversation, because most of that's going to lie in federal dollars, not in state dollars.
Yeah.
Because the state, the state administers Medicare, Medicaid. Does the state administer Social Security as well, or is Social Security straight out of the Fed?
I think that's straight out of the Fed.
Okay. And so that is a conversation to be had if we're going to talk federal government stuff. Yes, absolutely. Old people suck. Old people are suckers, and they fuck this whole thing up.
Yeah, state Medicaid, but I think Medicare is still exclusively federal.
Right, but
now the Medicare supplements,
it's federal and then it's supplemented on state level and stuff like that. And so I don't know. It's just like that's the thing. And that but again, going back to my point, voters, you suck. Do better. You got to figure out. You need to take a couple minutes to understand what the body is that you're voting for and what they can actually do. Because when you get right down to it, if Betsy Henderson is the mayor of Knox County, or Kim Frazier, or Larson J, or whoever the crazy fucking Democrats put up, which they haven't announced anybody yet, that I've heard at least. There is not a lot of policy play that they can do that's going to bring in some radical leftist shit in Knoxville or Knox County. The biggest thing, what is the biggest number one thing the Knox County government does?
Development. Land development.
Land use and infrastructure.
Use, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's bring in some Democrats that maybe will spend some money on building some fucking roads that work. We might have some weird European roundabouts. We might get some more roundabouts because they're overly progressive. What are we talking about? That's just not the way it works. That's part of the reason why I think major metros tend to, which I actually learned the truth is until this week, Miami was the largest U.S. city that had a Republican mayor.
Yeah, so
and they just voted the first Democrat.
It was like 20 or 30 years.
Yeah. Anyway, I think the way condensed populations interact underscore the infrastructure and land use conversation. And I think that's why Democrats run cities. Because I would rather pay a couple extra bucks in taxes to, have a road that works and is accessible, because there's 10 million fucking people within 20 feet of me.
Yeah.
It's a wholly different thing. I think that light bulb's dying. That's the only thing that makes sense. Anyway, Eric, you're not an idiot. You're a smart dude. I think the one big thing I think he's missing is I think he thinks radical conservatism is somehow equivalent to this whole thing sucks, get me out of here. And I don't think anybody actually believes that. I think most people, especially through these last couple of years of Trumpism, the more radical version of right is not the promised correction to the status quo problems, which is why people like Afton Bain and Mondani are doing well in elections. How weird are you going to get?
We got drone drop steak and crab legs for prisoners' feast, but South Carolina guards found it first. Oh.
And what's your deal lately, man? You just like shit falling from the sky.
What was the last one I did?
Last week, a bald eagle drops cat and breaks windshield.
I just go with what's given to me and sound weird. See, 'twas 3 weeks before Christmas in the prison, and in the prison yard, a drone drop package was found by a guard. Steak, weed, and crab legs, and cigarettes for days. And to season it all, a tin of Old Bay.
Crab legs, yeah. In the rhyme scheme, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh. What a weird...
They're investigating. No arrest has been made.
What a weird thing. What a weird combination of stuff.
It's not uncommon. I mean, for a little while, people were doing catapults and shit, or just straight up just coming over and strong-arming it over the fence.
I mean, I get it. Like, I get that part, but like a steak and crab legs? Like, is that supposed to be the payoff? Like,
that's what they asked for. It's what they're paying that extra money to have someone try to smuggle in.
I mean, that's some Don Corleone shit.
I mean, if you're going to go big, go big.
I guess.
If you're going to have to sneak something in, sneak it in.
But I mean, it just seems like, you know, the bigger the airdrop package is, the less likely it is to be to sneak through. I could go for a steak though. Steak sounds delicious. Crab legs have never been my forte though.
So you have to eat around them. I like crab meat, but I hate having to like crack into them and try to get everything out.
I like breaking stuff. That's fun, but like I don't know. It's never like it's. I don't know.
I think they're worth the money, but
right. That's what I'm saying. It's expensive, and it's a lot of effort for the goods. And when the general rule is just soak it in butter, I mean, just like, why don't I just take shots of butter? Like, what are we? Right. Why do I need to waste all this effort here? I just drink some butter.
Makes it taste better. Like, it should taste good on its own, shouldn't it?
Right.
Why don't you boil it in something good and make it taste good that way?
I mean, I want a little dip or whatever. I'm not saying you can't dip stuff. I'm just saying, like, it's like...
Right.
But, like, it's just straight butter. If you're fancy, it's like a seasoned butter.
Well, we'll do that with steaks. They'll have, like, a big pat of butter that they melt over top of it.
Yeah, but it's, like, melted into it. It's incorporated.
Right.
Although I'm not a big fan of what do they call that butter? Not fancy butter. There's a word for that kind of butter.
Clarified?
No, clarified's when you... Well, that's what you use for crab legs, yes. But like when you put like a seasoned butter on something, it's like infused butters or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. I'm not a big fan. I do like a good juicy steak though, but it's also like I don't know.
I'd rather have a pork chop.
I did learn. I did learn on turkey the best way if you want a juicy turkey, don't quite finish it. So 165 is your internal temp for poultry, right? Mm-hmm. Take it off at like 150. Let it sit for a couple minutes.
It'll still continue cooking.
Let it sit for a couple minutes. Slice it at like 160. And put it in the microwave for 45 seconds. Then you get some juicy ass turkey. Now it sucks because like you have to like I'm talking like 45 seconds for like a slice. So if you want to like do like a presentation and put it on the table, you got to like slice the whole thing, put it in for like 2 minutes. And get it up to that last bit of temp in the microwave. I'm sorry, anybody that's a chef out there. I'm sure you're fucking ripping your hair out right now listening to me tell this stupidness. But like our turkey wouldn't finish this year. I don't know if it's because it's so cold outside or what. It just wouldn't quite finish. Everybody's hungry.
Big bird.
Everybody, no, it's like a 12-pounder. It's a tiny bird. The steak part of our thing was done, and it had finished its resting and was starting to get cold. And so I was like, we need to pull that turkey off. So we pulled the turkey off, and I shoved the thermometer in, and it's like 155. We took it off the grill. I was like, that's not good. And I sliced it up, and it's like, that's close. But there's still enough pink in there that it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. And
so like I took a couple slices off, threw it in the microwave, and then made some plates for people. Took a couple slices off, threw it in the microwave, made a couple plates for people. And it was some good-ass turkey. It was some really good turkey.
Did you brine it? I've always heard like that's supposed to keep it super juicy.
We did brine it. But it like was weird this year, and that was part of it too. It was like it did not. Like we had tons of stuff in it. We had like a whole bag of crap stuffed in the like in the cavity, but it didn't produce any liquid. Usually, like while it's cooking, that pan will fill up with stuff, and so like we had it fully wrapped and stuff like that. And like an hour before we were planning on pulling it off, we took the foil off the top, and it was dry as a bone inside. There was no liquid that it had juiced out in the cooking process. So I don't know.
I don't know if putting it on the Traeger is a little different than an oven.
But we've done that on that grill a million times. And it's always like dry. There's always like an inch of liquid on the bottom. And when we get out there with the baster and go nuts, it's great.
I'm saying an oven may kind of hold in a little bit more like of that moisture as it's cooking.
The Traeger's the best thing ever. Everybody needs a Traeger.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a little bit more open air kind of. It may not be holding in as much like humidity.
Yeah. That's why That's why it's wrapped in its own thing. But anyway,
that's true. Yeah.
Sorry for the cooking lesson, everybody. I'm sorry for anybody who actually cooks out there.
Let's see.
Like I'm sure that really broke some souls when I said microwave your turkey.
Like what the hell is he talking about? Got a San Francisco woman gives birth in a Waymo self-driving taxi. Yeah, there wasn't much else.
No, I'm just saying, like, apparently the theme of 2024 or 2025 for us has been we finished the show on how bad AI is. Yeah. It's...
Yep.
I don't know. Like I'm scared to death. Like, I'll finish it off this way. I mean... I've seen this movie. I've seen this movie a couple different times, and it goes a little bit different paths, but it still gets to the same end. And it sucks if you have flesh. I've seen The Matrix. I've seen AI. I've seen Terminator. It's not good for us humans. And we need to have a serious talk about what's going on here before we let this thing loose. And it might be too late already.
And we've turned over a number of things over to it. Saw some like. It was, I think, in like Reno, Nevada. I think it was actually from 2023, but a casino was using basically like AI facial recognition to, catch people that had been trespassed. And they arrested this guy, and he spent, probably 6 hours at the jail trying to prove that he wasn't himself, or he wasn't this person that had been like trespassed.
Yeah, I mean,
and they did like show the pictures, and the guys did look really close.
But
he had like he had a real ID. He was like, I drive for UPS. I've got, I've done like my DOT and stuff.
That's small potatoes, man. That's nothing.
Yeah, but that's relying on AI because they were pretty much like, oh, this software is really good, and it said it's a 99% match.
And the police agreed. I mean, that is a problem. But it's just, I don't know, like. Minority Report, like they're all in there. Like there's a million movies. Go watch movies. Go just spend a weekend in sci-fi, and you should come out being like, we need to stop. We need to do something about this. Because like I explained to Jesse today my whole theory on my capitalist theory of the case here is this is one of those like I'm trying to think of a good example. Like I don't know, like. This is one of those like you're on the river in the canoe and you're with your buddy and you're paddling the canoe and you're just enjoying a nice slow stream and everything's cool, and you're looking at like the birds that are flying over the sun, and then all of a sudden you're in the fucking rapids. That's what this feels like that we're doing right now. We're on this nice serene little creek right now, and it's beautiful and pretty, and we have no idea that there's a huge rapids up ahead that there's no way our little canoe is going to handle. And we're just kind of blindly we're paddling every once in a while to make sure we stay straight and stuff like that. But we're letting the current take us the direction the current's going.
Yeah.
And we're running into the current is starting to pick up, and we're running into those rapids real quick, and nobody seems to be wanting to look around to see it. Like we're just we're slow walking our way into our own demise right now. Is what it feels like. Because there's no logical end to it. Again, from the capitalist perspective, there's no logical end here. Like the logical end here is the end of civilization as we know it, from the capitalist perspective. Because there's nobody that's going to be able to buy my shit. I can produce all the things I want, but if nobody can afford it. It's the simple supply and demand. I have all the supply, but there is zero demand. So I can't sell my stuff anymore. So I'm broke. And then I become part of the demand side that can't afford anything. And it's universal. Like it's like the number of people that will be at the top of this little thing is so minuscule that they won't be able to buy enough from each other to keep their functions alive. Like there is no logical end here, but I have to keep up with the Joneses. I have to partake in this to continue operating against, because my competitors are going to do it, and if they're doing it, I can't compete with them. And if I can't compete with them, then I fall now. But if I can get another 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, maybe they'll fall first, and I can be the one standing after it.
Yeah.
But eventually, there's going to be nobody else standing, and then nobody else to come buy my shit. There is, and I'm going to argue against taxes, and so there'll be no UBI to give people to buy my shit, because I don't want to pay the taxes so that they can give them back to the people that are going to give me the money. which goes into that weird fucking vendor investment thing that NVIDIA is doing right now with their chips, which is another crazy thing that's going on.
Oh, where they're having their customers invest?
Yeah, basically, yeah. Well, no, what they're investing in their customers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you talked about them. They were basically give them money so they have money to buy the chips or whatever.
Right. So they'd have money to buy the chips to install them into systems. But on paper, NVIDIA comes out, their earnings goes up. And so when their earnings goes up, their stock value goes up. But they're at a net zero in actual profit.
Yeah. I keep hearing people talk about the tech bubble bursting at some point. And it could be worse than the 2008
It will be. I can't imagine it wouldn't be.
Like, or housing bubble.
Because right now on that one, like the only reason, like, and you know, the only reason Trump gets to go out there and say A plus economy and not be a complete idiot, which he's still an idiot for saying it, but is because the stock market as a whole looks good. But it's like 6 stocks. It's NVIDIA, it's Meta, it's X, it's all these tip top of the, especially like it's the big, like, what do they call it? The Fantastic Five or something like that?
I haven't heard that term.
It's something like, it's some like 5 or 7 of the top AI, either AI developers or hardware manufacturers that go into AI stuff, NVIDIA being the tip top of it. Like their value gains over the last year since Trump took office have outpaced the value loss of everybody else in the stock market.
Yeah, damn.
And so, as a whole, the stock market looks like it's up. But it's only like 7 companies. Everybody else is fucking dying. Well, rephrase that. It's only 7 companies or like 100 of these different like financial groups that have all these investment games that include major chunks of these 7 companies. So like your Berkshire Hathaways, which is just a whole bunch of stocks all spread out. A big chunk of those stocks are NVIDIA or something like that. Like I don't remember how much it was, but it's a couple percent of the totality of NVIDIA stock is owned by Berkshire Hathaway. And so Berkshire Hathaway's total value has gone up or has stayed level and gone up a little bit. But the only part of it that went up was because they have the NVIDIA and a couple of these other these top blue chip players. And so, we're fucked, buddy. We're fucked. Thanks for bringing AI up. We almost made it through a whole episode with it. It's all your fault.
It's all my fault.
Yeah, I forgot to mention at the top of the episode, we are human beings. We are real human beings. How funny would it be to have it? I might do it. All right, so I'm going to launch a new podcast, and that podcast is going to be an AI podcast that's all talking about the evils of AI. I can't see it like that. I can't imagine that wouldn't go well. I think people would love it. I think it'd be a very popular podcast. Anyway, we're almost in agreement. AlmostAgreement@gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, other website, AlmostAgreement.com. We're going there. We're going to continue doing our stuff. Might do a different schedule next week. We'll talk about that later. News doesn't stop. Local stuff's going to slow down a little bit because of the holiday or whatever, but we'll figure out something to talk about because we like to talk. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like, friend, share, follow on your favorite podcasters. Do what you can do to support the show. Tell your friends about us. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe New Year's resolution might be to do some more interviews. I am going to get Betsy in this room at some point this year, or I'm going to die trying because I don't know. Maybe I'll see if she'll put a restraining order on. It'll be fun. Go all the way. Go big or go home. What do you want me to say?